at the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. For those of you who don't know, the Office of Nightlife is a non-enforcement liaison between the nightlife industry and the city. We're a dedicated line of communication and support for the businesses and the workers in bars, clubs, restaurants, music and dance venues. And we coordinate and share existing resources as well as develop common sense solutions to existing challenges. We help to support business development and recovery, improve quality of life, promote safety, equity, and harm reduction, and also elevate nightlife as a whole to be seen as an asset and a great contributor to New York's economy and culture. Before I get started, I'd also like to, well, actually, I'll just keep going for now and just say that the good news is that while there are still some challenges that we're all experiencing, the industry is resilient and coming back strong, and the demand for nightlife is high. As we continue to recover, the purpose of this webinar today is to make sure that everyone working in this industry knows what the existing city and state resources are available to you and where to get your questions answered. And if not for you, then maybe for somebody that you know. Right now, we are happy to be joined by our colleagues from the New York State Department of Labor, the New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants, New York City Human Resources Administration, the Actors Fund, and the Freelancers Union. They will all be sharing the resources and services that they provide, including unemployment insurance, paid sick leave laws, free tax prep, financial counseling, freelance laws, tenants' rights, and accessing health insurance in the marketplace. After their brief presentations, we will also have time for Q&A, and we ask that you start putting your Q&As or your questions into the Q&A feature so that we can start addressing those right away. I'm also going to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared, and also is going to be streaming on Facebook Live right now. But before we get to the presentations, I just want to highlight two initiatives that the Office of Nightlife has launched that we think will also be helpful to you or someone you know. First, we know that mental health struggles have been prevalent in the industry even before the pandemic. It's so hard to work at night, late hours, high energy, anything can happen environments, and the pandemic only magnified those pressures. So we created, in partnership with the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health, our Elevate Nightlife Mental Health Initiative, which offers free weekly support groups online every Monday at 4 o'clock with professional mental health professionals. And so we really recommend that you take advantage of that. And also one-on-one case management that helps you to create personalized mental health plans to connect you with low-cost mental health services. And you can learn more about that on a link that we will provide in the chat. Second, we know that nightlife is where people look out for each other. Many of you may know that there is an opioid overdose crisis. We created with our partners at the Department of Health a campaign, Narcan Behind Every Bar, and that is to help with the overall harm reduction and to save lives. And so much like there are CPR kits or first aid kits behind every bar, we really encourage everyone in the industry to get trained, to make sure that there's Narcan at the places where you work, or even in your bag in the event that you should encounter someone who may be going through an unfortunate and unintended fentanyl overdose. So those are some of the things that the Office of Nightlife is doing. And before we begin with our presentations, I'm also going to turn it over to the Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, Commissioner Ann Del Castillo. Unmute.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Ariel. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say a few quick words. The Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment really works to strengthen and support New York City's creative sectors, film, television, music, advertising, publishing, digital media, and of course, nightlife. We view our creative workers, our nightlife workers, as a lifeblood of New York City's economy. Prior to the pandemic, these sectors made up $150 billion in economic activity for New York City and employed close to 500,000 people. We know that so many of you are still in need of access to critical resources. And so I just want to thank Ariel and the team at the Office of Nightlife for organizing this webinar to share information about the available resources with you. I also just want to take a moment to thank our incredible colleagues in government, the people represented on this call who are taking the time to share their information and insight, and just remind you that through these resources and other programs, Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment and the Office of Nightlife are really working to ensure that New York City continues to be a place where our creatives and hospitality and nightlife workers can continue to thrive, to really ensure that New York City continues to be a global creative capital. We know that by making these investments and offering these programs, that we're really working to ensure that this diversity of our city is represented, both in the workforce and creative sectors, and that through these collaborations that we're going to continue to see all of you through the recovery. So again, thank you to the Nightlife team and all of the representatives on this call. And I look forward to hearing about the incredible resources that are available.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Yeah, what I've learned, being here in the mayor's office now, having come from owning a nightclub myself, is that there's so many incredible resources that the city and the state have, and that it's just a question of learning where they are and how to access them. And so that's really what we're here to do now, is to let you know what's available to you. And so with that, I'm going to begin with the New York State Department of Labor. Today we have the Director of Capital District Telephone Claims, Ed Delahanty, and he's also accompanied with his colleagues who will also be in the chat and giving presentations. Thank you so much. I turn it to you.
Thank you very much. Do you want, I can share my screen just for our PowerPoint, or is there just going to be a main PowerPoint?
We have it and we'll be sharing it for you. So let's put that up for you right now.
Perfect. All right.
Voila.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. As Ariel just said, I'm Ed Delahanty, the Director of the Capital District Telephone Claims Center, which is really one of only two ways. We only have two claim centers in the whole state, one here in Albany and the other one is located outside of Binghamton, New York. So basically, the only ways to file a claim for unemployment insurance benefits these days is to call one of the two claim centers, or what we really recommend is that you use our online services to file a claim. You can actually go to our website, and if we could go to the next slide, I'll have all that information. So basically, really quickly, unemployment insurance is a temporary income for eligible workers who lose their job through no fault of their own. So we usually consider that to be a lack of work or a layoff situation. If someone quits a job or is discharged from a job, that raises an issue that we would have to do further fact finding on to determine whether or not that person is eligible, depending on the reasons that they quit their job or that they were discharged from a job. So as I was stating earlier, the best way to file a claim is to go to our website at www.labor.ny.gov. The other way is you can call our telephone claim center at that number, 888-209-8124, to file a claim, to speak with one of our agents. Some claims do go unassisted using our interactive voice response system, but if you can file a claim using the web, that's definitely your best method. An unemployment claim is valid for 1 year. Although it's open for 1 year, you can receive up to 26 weeks of regular unemployment benefits. As of September 5th, 2021, there are no further extensions at this time. A person should certify for benefits each and every week, and the benefit rates are based on prior earnings in what we call the base period, which is the 18 months prior to filing a claim. And then depending on their earnings, you have to have a minimum of $2,900 in a calendar quarter. You have to have employment in at least 2 calendar quarters, and you have to have 1.5 times your high calendar quarter in order to qualify for what we call monetary entitlement. And unemployment insurance benefits are taxable, and a customer can choose to have up to 10% withholding for federal and 2.5% for state. And if we could move on to the next slide. We encourage everybody to set up what we call a nyc.gov account, and they can check their claim online. There's many convenient services. It's the easiest way to file and claim weekly benefits. It saves time and you might receive your benefits faster. You can check payment status and history. If you think you might have missed a payment for whatever reason, you can go online and check. At the end of the year, I mentioned that unemployment insurance is taxable. You can print your your 1099-G tax form. You can set up and change your banking information if you want direct deposit or change your banking information. And you can communicate with the New York State Department of Labor through our secure messaging system. And if you have any issues with your nyc.gov account, you can just call that number. So at this point, we're going to answer any questions you might have, but I'm going to turn over our Career Center services to Vanessa Johnson-Booker.
Hi, thank you, Ed. So as Ed stated, there's a whole host of services you can get online. So besides the unemployment piece, we can also help you with reemployment services. So we have a virtual career center online available to you all. You can sign up and be registered for services. We have a job bank that have a whole host of job openings that employers have posted, and you could apply directly with the employers. We also have Jobzone, which is another service we provide that you can look for work as well as do self-assessments. And we have workers who can follow up with you based on your assessment needs. We offer resume writing assistance. We have information regarding apprenticeship opportunities. If you're interested in joining the union, whether it's construction or something else, we have some great opportunities currently available to you in the New York City area. We also have interviewing stream, which allows you to pre-record interviews. Also have someone give you feedback on how you did on your interview. So that's a great feature to use. We have Coursera. It's a free training organization that we've linked up with. They have more than 4,000 free courses that you can sign up for. It's self-paced. You can sign up for one or as many courses as you would like to do. It's all free and available to you through our website. Make sure you go through our website in order to sign up for the free services. We also offer virtual workshops. We have a list of calendar events so you can see what's happening not only in the New York City area, but throughout the state. And you're free to register for whichever service you provide. Can you go back on the slide, please? Thank you. So we've had a number of partnerships, including with SUNY and the CUNY schools, to help you finish any kind of training educational programs you may be interested in. And they also help you to segue into college. So they help you give more of a one-on-one services to you, give you a little more hand-holder if you need that additional help in order to get into the college. So that's a great service. We have media campaigns. If you may have noticed, we're now on the buses, we're doing commercials, just to let you guys know the services that we offer and that are free to you. And we have a resource page that have a whole bunch of different links that you could just click right into based on the services you need. Next slide, please. So we've listed a few links here for you guys. So if you go on our website, it's labor.ny.gov, but we've also merged it into dol.ny.gov. So if you do the dol.ny.gov/virtual-career-center, you can go right in there and schedule an appointment to see one of our workers one-on-one directly. You could also ask different type of questions that you may have, and someone will provide you with feedback. We have the link to our calendar of events where you can see the different workshops, job fairs, and other services that we are providing. We have a great video. It was done by the Commissioner of Department of Labor. So Ms. Reardon herself presented a video telling you guys all about the different services that we have to offer. And we have a new feature. It's been on the website for a little while, but some of you may not know about it. It's called the Perkins Box. So it's on the lower right-hand corner when you log into our site. This feature right here is a great tool that you can start using, especially if you have UI questions that are specific to your claim. It will prompt you to log into your ny.gov ID, and then it could provide you with more specific answers to your claim. Like, what is my status? What's the last time I've received payments? What is my weekly rate? So this is a great tool that's right at your disposal, and we encourage you to take advantage of it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Vanessa. And I also encourage everyone to take screenshots. Screenshots of the slides so that you have these links at your disposal moving forward. That was one thing I forgot to mention. And then we are also putting them in the chat right now as well. We actually do have one question that came in for DOL, so might as well ask it now. The guest is saying that they have been having a difficult time getting through, that they have been certified on an unemployment claim since September, but has not received any financial support. The automated phone system leaves them with your claim is still processing, and then it's the end of the call, and that they have been having a hard time reaching an agent and has even tried to DM Twitter. They were wondering if you have any recommendations for them on how to resolve their issue.
If we could get their contact information, we could have one of our agents reach out to them and help them with their claim.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So we will put our email address into the chat right now. And I recommend the person who left that question to please send us your contact information. And I just want to share with everyone on the call, this is a really great and rare opportunity to be able to have all of these city and state agencies here, and to please send over your questions here live. And that is what we're here for, is to try and find solutions and answers for you as they come. And again, thank you again to Edward and Vanessa. The next speaker we have is Ayad, who is the Ayad Aglabali, the Deputy Director for Community Affairs at the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. So yes. The floor is yours.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Ariel. And yes, hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Ayad Al-Gabieli, and I am the Deputy Director of Community Affairs here at the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. I am joined by my colleague, Ed Shin, who will be dropping links on the chat as I present on our resources, just an overview of who we are and what we do. So again, DCWP, Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. You know, I'm not sure who's on here familiar with DCWP or DCA. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, formerly known as the Department of Consumer Affairs, protects and enhances the daily economic lives of New Yorkers to create thriving communities across New York City. We do this through three primary activities or branches in our office, which are the safeguarding workers' rights, such as the Paid Safe and Sick Leave, commuter benefits, Freelancers Free Act, and as well as freelancer protections and fair work week, as well as most recently, the delivery workers' rights and protection laws that we started enforcing earlier this year. So we also enforcing consumer protection and licensing laws. We also license more than 59,000 businesses in New York City in more than 50 industries. And lastly, we promote financial health in our city. So just a quick background on DCWP, we license, like I said, more than 59,000 businesses in more than 50 industries. We also enforce consumer protections, weights and measures laws. We also mediate complaints between consumers and businesses, and also pursues high impact litigation to target unfair business practices. So, but most importantly, safeguards workers' rights, such as the Paid Safe and Sick Leave, and we'll talk more about that, and then new amendments to the law, such as the Paid Safe and Sick Leave. We also educate consumers and businesses through building strategic partnerships, community presentations, department publications, marketing, ads, and campaign. And our website, please visit our website, which Ed will drop in the link, and also call 311, you know, if you want to be connected to our agency and say DCWP or Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. So who is a consumer? Of course, we are all consumers. In the end of the day, we are all people buying products, whether it's for us, for our families, or for our friends. So for DCWP, we want to make sure when you purchase that product that you are protected. So the NYC Consumer Protection Law prohibits unfair practices when dealing in consumer goods or services, such as false advertising, phony sales, and special offers that might have hidden conditions. So we ask you to please forward your complaints to go online and submit those complaints. If you believe you have been, the business have been in violation and your rights needs to be protected. So we also, like I mentioned, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection also works to make sure that businesses in New York City are in compliance with you know, their responsibilities to their workers. So our Office of Labor Policy and Standards is NYC Central Resource for Workers. We protect workers regardless of immigration status. We enforce key NYC protection laws and rules, including the Paid Safe and Sick Leave law, the Fair Work Week law, Freelancers Free Act, Grocery Worker Retention Act, Living and Prevailing Wages laws, and delivery workers laws. And I mentioned briefly before that there's a new amendment to the Paid Safe and Sick Leave law, which is a law that came into effect 5 years ago. Under that law, employees have the right to accrue sick time and use that time for treating themselves or their family members, including their parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, sibling, spouse, or domestic partner. Whenever a worker uses their accrued sick time, they must be paid for it, and no worker can be punished for using it. So, you know, workers are able to accrue up to 40 hours of paid safe and sick leave in 1 year. So the two amendments to that law, in COVID-19 and Paid Safe and Sick Leave, workers who have COVID-19 or were in contact with someone with COVID-19 can get sick leave or time off, regardless of immigration status. State and local laws let workers take time off to care for themselves and family members. So now also workers get their leave under the state law, get vaccinated as well, which means that workers can also get additional leave under the city law to get their kids vaccinated up to 4 hours per child and per COVID injection. They can use accrued city leave to have COVID-19 vaccine or booster shot. And there's another branch additional to the Office of Policy and Standard. We have also and DCWP also has programs and services to educate and empower individuals, families, and communities through our Office of Financial Empowerment. Right, so that's the one of the first local government initiative of its kind, and our OFE focuses on initiatives that support New Yorkers and communities with low incomes in building assets and improving their financial health and well-being. Our Office of Financial Empowerment works in communities across the 5 boroughs in New York City, and with more than 20 financial empowerment centers and more than 100 free tax preparation centers in targeted neighborhoods and across New York City. So our Office of Financial Empowerment also can be instrumental in helping individuals who live or work in NYC. The centers provide free one-on-one professional and confidential, financial counseling to support you in reaching your financial goals. The counselors could also help you manage your budget, your money, improve your credit, find a safe and affordable banking products, navigate student loan debt, and more. So we encourage you to please visit our Office of Financial Empowerment, make an appointment today with one of our offices and centers across New York City. Language shouldn't be a problem. We do have providers who speak, in multiple languages, including Arabic, English, Spanish, Mandarin, and much more. Additionally, before I end, I also want to highlight the NYC Free Tax Prep, since we are in the tax season right now. So we have a program under the Office of Financial Empowerment. It's called the NYC Free Tax Prep. Offers New Yorkers the chance to file their taxes for free by an IRS certified volunteer to, tax prepper online or in person. And, we do that by making sure the people who qualify for that need to be need to live in New York City or work in New York City, and regardless of immigration status. And if they are a family making of $72,000 or less, or a single filer of, $50,000. You could visit our website, nyc.gov/tax prep, and you could make an appointment with one of our providers in your neighborhood or in your borough to do your taxes for free. I like to think about it like, instead of going to a private accountant who could charge you, a few $100s, you could do your taxes for free with a DCWP for free. And or with the NYC Free Tax Prep. This year is very important because of the additional changes to the taxes, including the child tax credit as well as the earned income tax credit, all have been expanded under the American Rescue Act of 2021. So please do take advantage of that. If you have children, think about it that way. If you were getting the advanced child tax credit last year between July to December, in order to qualify for the rest of that credit, you need to file taxes and you need to file for your 2021 taxes. And you could do so by contacting our providers. You could call 311 or visit our website to see a list of providers. And before I end and give it back to you, I do also want to highlight the delivery workers. NYC recently passed a slew of new legislation regulating the online third-party delivery apps, such as Uber, Seamless, Grubhub, and much more. So in 2022, April 24, we started enforcing some of these regulations. Apps must tell delivery workers how much customers tips for each delivery. Apps must tell delivery workers the total pay and tips for the previous days. And also apps must have, delivery workers may have better access to restaurant bathrooms when they pick up orders. And then starting April 22nd this year, there will be additional laws that we will enforce, including where workers have more control over their deliveries, where apps must tell delivery workers the route before they accept a delivery, and where they also must get paid at least once a week, where apps cannot charge a fee for processing that payment. And also apps must give you a free installer food delivery bag after 6 deliveries. And we're also very excited and look forward to January 2023, where the apps must pay the delivery workers the minimum wage that the city will set. Back to you, Ariel, and if there's any questions for us, please do reach out to us. My colleague Edward has shared the links here. We will also share our contact information, so feel free to reach out at any time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayad, for that really important presentation. There's so much good information and protection for workers, and it's so important that they know their rights and their resources, especially with the tax support right now. No one should have to be doing that alone or paying out of pocket for it. And so really recommend people to seek out that resource. While I have the floor, I'll just remind anyone who's listening to please put your questions in the Q&A, and then we are using the chat to be able to share links and emails and information, and it's just easier to keep them separate. So Q&A in the Q&A, links and info in the chat. And we do see questions coming in, and we'll get to them soon, but we're going to keep it moving right now. Again, thank you to the Department of Consumer Worker Protection. And now on to the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants. A lot of new information coming out from that part of the universe. And so I will pass it off to Greta Aiken, who will give her presentation. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much, Ariel. And I also have a PowerPoint. I can share it myself, or you guys can share it for me.
We will be sharing it for you.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so hi everyone. Oh, give me just a minute. Okay. My name is Greta Aiken, and I am the Enforcement and Engagement Initiatives Manager for the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants was created back in January of 2019 as with the mandate to coordinate the city's range of tenant protection efforts. So we're not one of the large agencies that sends out inspectors, but rather we are the City Hall office that oversees housing, specifically housing pertaining to residential tenants in New York City. And we coordinate across all of the different agencies that do work that affect residential tenants. So we are a core part of the city's strategy to confront the affordable housing crisis. Our office, as I was just saying, works across city agencies to make existing anti-harassment and anti-displacement programs better and to create new strategies to root out abuse. Next slide, please. So as you may have heard, there have been a lot of moving pieces when it comes to eviction protections, particularly for tenants in New York City and New York State. So today I just wanted to focus mainly on eviction protections, rights, and resources. So I could speak for a long time about other rights and resources. You're welcome to ask questions in the Q&A about those, but right now I'll just be speaking about this. So we had an eviction moratorium, or a stay on evictions and on people's housing court cases moving through the courts. That was known as the New York State COVID-19 Emergency Eviction and Foreclosure Prevention Act. And it was triggered when a tenant would truthfully sign and submit a hardship declaration showing that they had experienced a financial hardship during COVID. And that would prevent an eviction from happening. However, that law expired on January 15th. I am here speaking today because I want to make sure that folks know that you still have many other protections. This was something that paused evictions for a while. Evictions are proceeding again. They're proceeding fairly slowly because the courts have to see a lot of cases that have accumulated over the past couple of years. So if you are at risk of eviction, if you receive a notice of, court notices saying that you're going to start going through an eviction process, know that you have rights and that there are programs and resources available to help you. I really encourage you to stick it out and work to stay in your home. I also want to note, related to the hardship declarations and that law that I just spoke about, that while the courts are no longer accepting hardship declaration forms, evidence of financial hardship due to COVID-19 from between March 2020 to January 15th, 2020 might still be able to help you prevent an eviction. So if you have those forms that you've signed, save them, save documentation of hardship that you've experienced during this period. It's really helpful and important. The other big moving piece that I wanted to cover first has to do with the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, or ERAP, which was that federal money that was then administered through the state and was providing rental assistance to folks who fell behind on their rent or on their utilities during the pandemic. So that program, as you may have heard, it closed, but it recently reopened on January 11th. We are right now urging all New Yorkers, all New York tenants in need of rent relief to apply to ERAP, since a pending application will provide temporary protection from eviction. So until your application has been decided, you get some protections. And documentation of immigration status will not be requested when you fill out this document, or that application, pardon me. It's important to note there's currently no federal funding available to fund ERAP applications for New York City residential tenants. However, we'll see what happens with funding that's coming, but we encourage folks to apply because you do get these protections when you send in your application. And if you have questions about whether you should apply to ERAP or apply to a one-shot deal or something else through HRA, you can speak with HRA about that. You could ask folks in the resources I'm going to speak to briefly in a minute about that, but I think HRA is coming up after me. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of your rights, certainly not all of them, but they're really important, and I wanted to make sure that folks are aware of them, particularly since, sometimes landlords might be frustrated by how it's kind of difficult to evict tenants in New York City. It can take some time. It definitely takes a few to several to more months to legally evict someone. So I want to make sure that everybody knows you have to go through this process, and your landlord cannot take shortcuts, and hopefully you won't take the shortcut for your landlord. So regardless of your immigration status, if you have lived in your apartment for more than 30 days, or if you have a lease agreement, it's illegal for someone, so that would be like a landlord or a management or a super, et cetera, to pressure or force you to leave your home, to shut off your utilities, or to try to get you to leave as punishment, or to lock you out of your home. So that is regardless of whether you have a formal lease and regardless of immigration status. Again, you have the right to stay in your home unless you receive an eviction order signed by a judge and delivered by a marshal or sheriff. So if your landlord wants to evict you and you've been in your unit for at least 30 days or you have a lease, they have to bring you to court. You have to go through a court process, and then a judge has to sign the documents that allow for the eviction to take place. And it takes a lot of time. So if you receive a court notice, make sure that you respond within the time period that is specified in the notice and that you go to court. A lot of court hearings actually right now are virtual. So make sure that you can call the courts if needed, but the information should be on your court documents. So If you have been potentially illegally locked out, someone's shut off one of your major utilities, and it makes it so that you can't stay in your unit, call 911, and then the police are supposed to come and help you. And you can also, after that, call 311 and ask for the Tenant Helpline for referral to free legal services. The Tenant Helpline isn't immediate. 911, of course, is immediate. We always call 911 in case of emergencies. And if your landlord is locking you out of your apartment, that's an emergency. If you think you're at risk of being locked out of your apartment, my recommendation is that you hold on to some sort of proof that you belong in that apartment. So that would be a bill with your name and address associated, or a lease would be fantastic, some sort of document that associates you with the unit. If the police are not able to get you back into the apartment, you then should call your local housing court right away. So each borough has its own housing court. And then you can speak with the folks at housing court about starting a court case called an illegal lockout. And during that case, you ask to be restored to possession of your unit. You also can be connected with free legal services through the housing court. So you don't necessarily have to wait for the Tenant Helpline to get back to you. When you call housing court, you can ask them about legal services as well if you've been locked out. The other thing I really want to emphasize is don't self-evict. So if you decide to up and leave because you're afraid that your landlord will evict you, that's self-evicting. So your landlord cannot tell you to leave in writing or verbally. They have to bring you to court before they can legally evict you. You have the right to argue your case in court, and New York City provides free legal advice and counsel to eligible tenants through our Right to Counsel program, which I'll speak about in just a moment. But I think that now that evictions can happen again, a lot of people are thinking, oh shoot, I'm not going to be able to stay in my unit. You know what? There are people out there to help you stay in your unit. There might be things that you haven't tried yet. I really urge you to work to try to stay in your apartment. Next slide, please. Okay, oh, sorry about that. It says resources on the top, but it got cut off. So these are some resources that my office recommends people use. There are more, but these are some of the main ones that can help you in addressing tenancy-related issues and in preventing eviction. So the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit and my office, the Mayor's Office of Protect Tenants, and HRA's Office of Civil Justice set up a tenant helpline at the beginning of the pandemic. It's still standing. It's staffed by tenant support specialists from PEU, and it also connects folks through the Office of Civil Justice's legal hotline. So you can call them with just about any tenancy issue that you have. They can help you better understand your rights, guide you through the steps to protect yourself from eviction, connect you with free legal services. The information they provide is free, it's confidential, it will be in your preferred language, and everybody who is a New York City residential tenant is eligible for this assistance, regardless of your income, your immigration status, your lease status, like whether you have a legal lease, or a zip code. So to access the Tenant Helpline, call 311 and you just say Tenant Helpline to the folks at 311. It's important to note that the way that the Tenant Helpline works right now is you have to leave a phone message for them with your name and your phone number. Eventually it might change, but for now, this is how things work. And then somebody from the Tenant Helpline will give you a call back within the next few days. Okay, so Right to Counsel, it's an amazing law that passed a few years ago. Under this law, HRA's Office of Civil Justice provides tenants facing eviction in housing court or NYC administrative proceedings with access to free legal representation and advice provided by nonprofit legal services organizations across the 5 boroughs. So Right to Counsel legal services are free, available in all zip codes, available regardless of your immigration status, and they can support folks who don't have a lease but have lived in their unit for 30 days or more. So back in 2019, I don't have more recent data, but we will soon, 84% of tenants who had a lawyer through this program avoided eviction. So the way that you get to them is by calling 311 and asking for Right to Counsel. Additionally, there are other ways to help pay back rent. I'm sure that HRA will speak about that in a moment, but the way that you get to HRA's benefits and one-shot deals, which help with rental assistance, is by going to their website or using their phone app. All right, thank you. And actually, I think there might have been a question in the chat. If you'd like me to answer it, I'd be happy to do so.
Sure, go right ahead. Great.
Okay, so, oh, and you know what? There were two questions. So I'll start with Melissa's first. So Melissa left a message on the hotline that I was just talking about and has gone through 311. She needs legal services for tenant protection and mediation urgently regarding special circumstance and for succession rights, etc. Okay, so you've contacted legal services and need help directly rather than having to wait for an illegal lockout or eviction or homelessness. Okay, so is there any way that I could get Melissa's email directly, Ariel?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so Ariel will let us know how to do that, and I can get in touch with you and make sure that somebody from our tenant helpline gets in touch with you.
Is there a general answer to that question in the event that others might be experiencing something similar?
Absolutely. So our tenant helpline is available to help folks with the majority of tenant related issues. So you can get help regardless, you know, you don't need to have an emergency like an illegal lockout or eviction. We also have a relationship with one of the legal services providers where you can be connected with them just for information and advice without necessarily having to be taken on for representation. So you don't need to have a court case in order to speak with this legal services provider for assistance. So that's something that used to not exist for any tenant in New York. It's really great that it exists right now. I'm sorry, you know, Melissa, that you didn't get the assistance that you needed. I'm not sure what happened where you didn't get contacted, but I'll make sure that somebody does contact you. And, you know, what was written about here, succession rights. So that's when you take over the right to the unit after the leaseholder, who's a family member, passes away or moves. Tenant harassment, discrimination, legal eviction, ERAP, those are all things that the tenant helpline can assist with. Additionally, with ERAP, there are some nonprofit, there are community-based organizations that are contracted with the city that provide assistance with ERAP. So you can actually visit them. I think some of them or most of them you can visit in person instead of having to speak to them over the phone, and they might be in your neighborhood or nearby, and you find out who those are by going to nyc.gov/ERAP, and I'll put that in the chat. Okay, and then the next, okay, and then I have a direct ERAP question. You have a notice from ERAP, a provisional approval of ERAP application, but your landlord is discriminating and is not responsive. Does this still hold my funds for the 180 days? My understanding is that your landlord does have 180 days to fill out their side of the ERAP application. If your landlord does not do that, you are still afforded with some rights against eviction afterwards. My recommendation is that you speak with somebody at ERAP. You might want to call the ERAP hotline, or that you speak with one of those CBOs or someone from the tenant helpline about the specifics of your application and what's going on. And I just got a question of how do I send the information privately?
Well, you can email us and then we will put you in touch. And my colleague has put our email in the chat, and the Office of Nightlife is here as a liaison between the industry and city and state resources. And that's exactly what we're doing here today, and today and every day. So if something should come up in your minds and at any time, reach out to us and we'll connect you. Thank you very much, Greta, for this incredibly vital, important information. And I'm very happy we're able to share this with everyone now. Moving on, we will move on to HRA, which is Human Resources Administration. And we have Lizbeth with us, who will give her presentation. I remind everyone to use the Q&A feature and to take screenshots of slides. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much, Ariel. Lisbeth Pereira here from HRA, Department of Social Services. And as many of you likely know, our agency administers temporary financial assistance and public benefit programs for New Yorkers that need them. So I will be briefly going over just some of our core programs, which have been referenced in some of the prior presentations, how to go about applying to these, and particularly we'll shed a spotlight on Access HRA, which was also mentioned before. So we can, again, sort of intro of our core programs. We can go to the next slide. So first up, and this is probably one of our most popular programs and the one that is likely most sort of known, is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, also known as food stamps. And this is a benefit that helps clients pay for their food. So it's essentially benefits are provided to clients on an electronic card, similar to an ATM card, and it is accepted at most grocery stores, local supermarkets, farmers markets, also at some online grocery vendors. And this benefit can be, someone can just have SNAP if they have that need, or they can have it alongside temporary cash assistance, which is one of our other benefits. And this is a program that provides financial assistance to clients on an ongoing basis, or if someone needs temporary one-time assistance to meet an emergency need, there's also a sort of program under the general cash assistance that can assist folks that may just need that one-time help and not necessarily ongoing help. The eligibility for both of these programs really will depend on a variety of factors. These are immigration status, income, resources, your expenses for the month, and household composition or household size. And really the point that we try to drive home when we speak to potential clients is that really the only way to know if someone is eligible for one or both of these programs is to apply. Right? So applications are open to anyone. We urge folks that are in need of one or more of these services to put in an application and let our eligibility specialists make that determination as it pertains to your particular situation. Can move on to the next slide. Okay, so want to make a kind of note about one-shot deal special grant request. The one-shot deal was mentioned in a previous presentation. So this is sort of falls under our cash assistance program, but unlike our ongoing cash assistance program, which provides financial assistance on a monthly basis to clients, folks will apply for a one-shot deal if they need that sort of one-time emergency assistance, right? It is known as a sort of one-shot deal, and it is really when an unforeseen circumstances prevent someone from meeting an expense that they may have, right? Someone that applies for a one-shot deal would need to show us that they can cover their expenses moving forward, right? Because if you cannot cover your expenses moving forward, that means that you need ongoing assistance. So we will guide you to apply for ongoing cash assistance. But if this is someone that just needs that sort of one-time help because they are, going through a time, they can apply for the one-shot deal. Now, this assistance is provided for a number of different scenarios. Some of them are eviction or rent arrears, any utility disconnect or utility arrears. If a client has a moving expense due to sort of an emergency or a disaster, and other circumstances that may be affecting the particular client. We also can pay for someone's storage, for example. So there's an array of different situations where we will sort of provide that one-time assistance for a client. Similarly, if there's a client that already has cash assistance, sort of that ongoing cash assistance, but needs additional help, for example, one of those situations that I described prior, they can submit what we call a special grant request. It's the same as a one-shot deal. We just call it a special grant request because that is for an active client that already has cash assistance. And they can request it again for those same situations, even if they are already getting that ongoing help from us through our cash assistance case. Now, one note is that most one-shot deals or special grant requests do have to be paid back gradually through regular monthly payments that are agreed upon between the client and the agency. Now, some folks do not have to pay this back, particularly individuals that are receiving Social Security income, for example, or just different situations. So it would be on a client by client basis, but do want to, make sure that folks have that information, that there would be gradual payments at a later time. Again, one that is agreed upon by the client and the agency. Now, a quick note on ERAP. I know this was covered thoroughly already, but as of Monday, November 15th of 2021, when the ERAP portal first closed, since then, we have now required clients that are applying for a one-shot deal to show proof of having applied for ERAP or to have a determination on hand. Anyone that applied before November 14th would have to have the determination, but since upon the ERAP portal reopening, since funding has not been secured, we are allowing folks to just apply for the one-shot deal straight away and not have to wait, since we don't know if ERAP will be providing funding, upon its reopening. Next slide. Okay, a quick note on fair fares. This is another service benefit that is available for New Yorkers. This is a program that was created to assist New Yorkers to really manage their transportation costs. And anyone that's eligible for this program will receive a 50% discount, so half off on subway and eligible bus rides. Folks will receive a Metro card that looks just like any other Metro card in the mail. And when used at a kiosk, it will just deduct half off from whatever transaction you're trying to make, whether it's a single ride, weekly, monthly, etc. There are some eligibility criteria to this program. You have to be between the ages of 18 and 64, live in New York City, and not receiving any other sort of discounted Metro card programs, not be eligible for them. So if you're a high school student, for example, that's already receiving a free Metro card, you wouldn't qualify. If you are a senior that's already receiving a discount via being part of that population, you wouldn't qualify. But anyone else that meets the income eligibility requirements can go ahead and apply and receive that Metro card for use. Next slide, please. Okay, so I've talked about these programs. How do I apply for them? So there are various options. I'm going to talk about the kind of most popular one, not the only one, but the most popular one at this time. We have our Access HRA client-based portal. It is an online system where clients or prospective clients can create an account and apply directly using their computers, phones, or tablets. Now, folks can apply for all the programs that I've mentioned on there directly. They can recertify once it is time for them to recertify. Usually every year, folks have to recertify, so they can do it through there. They can request case changes. If they want to close a case, they can do it through there. They can enroll in Fair Fares program directly through there, request any of the one-shot deals or special grants that I mentioned. And they can also, it's really a case management tool for the client themselves. They can see their case status, they can see details, what information we have for them. They can view their balances, they can view any payments that we've made, either directly to them or on their behalf, for example, to a landlord. They can view any notices that they get in the mail. They can also view it electronically. Any upcoming appointments. We're not doing in-person appointments at this time, but if that ever happens again, they can see when we are scheduled to meet with them, edit contact information, etc. It's really a great tool for folks that can access it. So I would recommend anyone that currently has a case to create an account on there and be able to see your information, or anyone that's looking to apply, if you can, to apply via Access HRA. Next slide, please. Okay, so some quick resources, and I'll give some alternatives to Access HRA, considering that not everyone is tech savvy, not everyone has a smartphone or a computer or tablet. So for case-specific inquiries, really the main place to go is HRA's info line. The number is on the screen, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Or 311. Folks that are unable to file applications on Access HRA can call info line for assistance submitting an application via phone. So if you are interested in a SNAP only application, you would be guided over to BDT. And if you are interested in a cash assistance case, you would be sent over to Center 90 for assistance over the phone. They can take an application completely over the phone for someone that cannot navigate Access HRA. Our centers are now all reopened. We were closed for a minute there due to the pandemic, but if anyone does need that service, no one has to go into a center at all. But I do know that some folks may need to or really prefer to have that in-person interaction. You may. Centers are open, and you should have one close to where you live or where you work. I can certainly provide the link to the listing of our centers and their hours. I have a link here, which Ariel or Jose, feel free to share these slides with the attendees so that they can access the links. But there we have a guide here for Access HRA that really walks you through the features of Access HRA, how to interact with it, has a lot of great screenshots so that folks can reference them. And then a link here for our community updates webpage. This is, I would say, the best place right now to interact with us on our website. It is updated weekly, consistently, and would have a lot of FAQs and kind of programmatic and policy updates if you are interested in kind of knowing what's going on or referencing some help on there. It is a public page, so anyone can go ahead and visit it. And yes, so if there are questions, I'll certainly take them. If there are case-specific questions, I will have you please email the Office of Nightlife with your email address, and I can get back to you since I likely won't be able to respond to any kind of case-specific inquiries here. But anything kind of general policy procedure, I can certainly do my best. Thank you so much for your attention this afternoon, and thank you all for having us today.
Thank you so much, Lizbeth. Such important, again, critical information and resources. We do actually have one question. It may be case specific, but perhaps it will be able to be answered generally. So Lizbeth, I will ask and see what's possible. They say my SNAP was not recertified despite providing the documentation needed, no apparel process, and I didn't get the letter. Calling has been difficult. Trying to get a new account has been difficult because they say my account is already in use. SNAP is crucial to our survival. I'm undocumented, but my child is a citizen. What can I do to get back on SNAP? So I guess the question is, if somebody has an existing account but is trying to create a new account in order to resolve errors.
If they're on Access HRA and they had a previous Access HRA account and maybe forgot the credentials and are trying to create a new one, it should allow them to. You shouldn't have a problem creating a new Access HRA account. It would just ask you to kind of verify your identity to ensure that this is the action that you're actually looking to do, to make sure that it's you. So that shouldn't be a problem. So that's a tech issue, which I can also take. And generally speaking, the Access HRA webpage at the bottom does have a contact us, which launches a bit of a form where folks can enter their information and be contacted about their issue or have it resolved on the back end if we can easily do it. However, in this scenario, I can certainly take the client's information. I'll have them just send me, a little spiel of what's going on, and their Access HRA username would be great to have. Regarding the SNAP case, again, would have to look at it. If someone missed their recertification, the kind of automatic action is for it to close. But if the client did do their research and did provide the documents, I do wonder where things went wrong. Also factor in if the documents were submitted via the Access HRA app, or if it was mailed or faxed. Maybe there were, some wires got crossed there. But in any event, we can certainly assist if they're having a hard time with InfoLine. Please have them send over their information. We also have a kind of general inbox that's not designed for case specific inquiries, but certainly in situations where folks have already tried other means, we can step in. So I'm gonna also put that in the chat here. Just for future reference, if you're trying InfoLine not getting through, or you are, went to a center and maybe got the runaround, we can certainly step in sort of emergency situations where folks don't know what else to do. So I'm entering that. Let me make sure that it's accurate. Okay, so that's on there. But for this particular case, Ariel, if they can, I mean, they can certainly reach out to us with, in this email here, or they can reach out to you with just their personal information, and I can follow up on both issues.
Perfect. And I think I have one more. The question is, if I am currently on Social Security, am I still eligible for ongoing cash assistance?
You may be. Yeah, that's not an automatic sort of, that wouldn't cause an automatic denial. It really just depends on income, resources, expenses, just that particular, person's situation. But just because you receive Social Security benefits or income does not mean that you do not qualify for one or more of our benefits. I would urge folks to apply and have us tell you officially that you're not eligible versus someone just, being just thinking that they may not because they get income from other places. So it really does depend on a person's individual circumstance.
Got it. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're very welcome. Thank
and
you.
I hope this has been helpful. I'm sure it's been helpful for many who are listening. We only have 2 more presentations, and since we've been answering questions throughout, of course, still keep the questions coming in, but we have about 20 more minutes left for this webinar, and so we'll keep it moving. We've also invited 2 non-government entities. The next is Barbara Davis, the COO of the Actors Fund. Many people might think that the Actors Fund only helps to support actors, but I have learned it does so much more than that, which is why we invited her to join us today. So the floor is yours, Barbara, and thank you for joining.
Great, thank you so much. Great to be here with you. So we can go to the next slide. Our mission, the Actors Fund, fosters stability and resiliency and provides a safety net for performing arts and entertainment professionals over their lifespan. So as you said, we are for everyone that works in the performing arts and entertainment industry, from the theater usher to the television grip, all aspects of performing arts and entertainment. I'm going to speak very quickly about a lot of our different services. You could go to the next slide. We really focus in 4 primary areas. One is social services and emergency financial assistance. 2 is healthcare and access to health insurance. 3 is career services, and 4 is housing and affordable housing. So very briefly, for people who qualify and qualifications for emergency financial assistance is based on a few things. It's based on financial need. It's based on work history in the performing arts or entertainment industry and earnings. So there is a documentation process, but we can provide emergency assistance for basic living necessities. Often it will be towards a month's rent or to provide food or access to healthcare. So for anyone who is eligible, we encourage you to take a look at our website. The application is online. It's very easy to fill out. We provide a lot of social services. A lot of the programs that you've just heard from are the exact programs that we provide information about, advocacy with. So whether it's dealing with a landlord-tenant court or the need to apply for SNAP, our social services programs can help with much of that. We also do a lot of work around mental health services, addiction and recovery, and we provide a lot of affinity support groups for different aspects of working in performing arts, whether it's as a parent or whether it's an injured dancer or women's health issues. So again, all of these groups are listed on our website. So you just have to go to actorsfund.org and take a look to see if there's anything that you're interested in. We do a lot of advocacy and support around our seniors program. So we have a seniors activity program. We have lots of services to help people focus on remaining independent in the community. So whether it's for disabled services or our HIV/AIDS initiative, our focus is to help people remain as independent as possible. We also do a lot of work around health insurance counseling. Anyone who's in, this is the one program that we have that's not only for the performing arts, but the visual arts as well. And we have enrollment navigators for New York State of Health. Anyone in the arts who needs help in better understanding how to enroll in health insurance, how to make a decision on what kind of plans are best for you and your family, understanding who's eligible for subsidies for health insurance, Medicaid, the essential plans, just contact our Artist Health Insurance Resource Center. We have wonderful teams that will help people actually do the enrollments. And again, that's both for Medicaid, essential plans, and all of the plans on the exchange. For people who may be living outside of New York, but working in New York, we can also provide information on what's available in the state in which they are living. Here in Times Square, we run the Friedman Health Center for the Performing Arts, which is a partnership with Mount Sinai for primary and specialty healthcare. As a Mount Sinai Health Center, anyone is eligible to utilize the services. Again, the phone number for the health center is on our website, but particularly for people working in performing arts, we have a number of specialists who really know how to address the physical needs of people working in the arts. Our Career Center, in addition to the wonderful services provided through the state and city, we have our own Career Center that really focuses on helping people in performing arts develop sideline and parallel careers so that when you are not earning your living in your primary occupation, you can develop other areas that utilize your talents and skills to develop multiple streams of income. So if you are a performing arts worker and you feel like you'd like to explore different ways that you can be increasing your income, it's a great program to come to, and we have orientation every Monday at noon. We also do a lot of work around financial wellness and financial education. So that is a program that really focuses on managing your finances when you are an episodic worker. Really looking at the differences between somebody who gets the same paycheck every week or every month to what it's like when your income changes a great deal, and how to get control over your financial future. Lastly, our housing area, in addition to being a housing provider, we have affordable housing residence on 57th and 10th, as well as one that we partner with Breaking Ground in downtown Brooklyn. We also do a lot of work around educating people around affordable housing in New York City. So we have weekly classes called Finding Affordable Housing. We also have classes on navigating the open real estate market. We provide a lot of information and advocacy around housing challenges that people may be going through. So if you are in performing arts and dealing with housing issues, again, please contact us. And that's it. Thank you. All right. Are there any questions, or do we move on? Back to you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. This is an incredible amount of services that you provide, and it's a real education, I think, for a lot of people who didn't really realize what the Actors Fund does do for its members. And so thank you so much for sharing all of that. And now we will go to our final presentation, who is a former council member, Rafael Espinal, who is responsible for the legislation which created the Office of Nightlife, and who is now the executive director of the Freelancers Union, continuing to support creative workers. And the floor is yours to share what the Freelancers Union is up to now.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you so much for all of your work, especially over the years, and what was, as we know, the toughest time that the restaurant industry and nightlife workers have faced in modern history. I think your leadership has really allowed all of us to make sure that we're all in a better place as we move forward in the city's recovery. So thank you for all your work, Ariel. You have been living true to the mission of the office. I also just want to thank all the other agencies who are on this call, the DCWP, the Mayor's Office of Media Entertainment, who are all freelance champions in their own right. They do very much important work to ensure that freelancers across New York City have access to the resources they need to ensure they're getting paid on time. The Mayor's Office of Media Entertainment especially works with us directly to create a program called the Freelancers Hub, which is a free co-working space available to members. It's currently virtual, so you're able to network with other freelancers across New York City while also have access to free programming and classes to help you deal with many different issues like contract building, getting answers to some legal questions you're facing, to upskilling. You know, if you're want to learn different classes and different tools that you can use to build your freelance career, you can get that all in the Freelancers Hub. So you can go on our website, freelancersunion.org, to have access to those free resources. I'm just going to piggyback a lot on what Barbara said from the Actors Fund. You know, we are also an advocacy organization who are here to support the independent worker. I think a lot of us who do independent work have different titles and names for the type of work we do. So if you are someone who collects a 1099, who works independently, who considers yourself to be your own boss, whether you're a mural artist or whether you're a chef going around helping different kitchens, or you're a consultant to restaurants, or a lawyer, or whether you're a domestic worker, we consider you as being a vital member of our organization. So we encourage anyone and everyone to come onto our website, become a member. It is free to join. And our hope is to create, as we have been doing over the years, is a strong community that is going to work together to be able to uplift other independent workers. We offer a space for community. We offer a space for advocacy. We offer free resources across the board that would help you, help you along your freelance journey. Whether you're starting out for the first time, you can come onto our site and learn what are the different tools you need to be successful, from starting an LLC to learning how to build your own contract to ensure you get paid, to understand how to read your taxes and how to read a 1099, how to file your taxes and when to get that in. And then we also offer direct member services, and the direct member services are available because of our partnerships with the agencies mentioned earlier. DCWP does a lot of great work in enforcing the Freelancers and Free Act, which was a monumental law. The New York City was the first city in the country to put this law in place, which ensures that if you are a performer in nightlife, if you are a consultant, if you're someone who is doing independent work in nightlife, you can call 311 if you weren't paid on time by your client or your employer. So in New York City, you have the right to a contract. You have the right to getting paid within 30 days. And if those two needs aren't met, you can call the Department of Consumer and Workers Protections, and they will utilize their resources to ensure you get paid on time. We've seen and we've heard from a lot of our members, especially during the pandemic, that we're not getting paid for various reasons. But the agency was very successful in collecting those payments and making sure freelancers had the money they needed and deserved, especially during those times. We found internally that only about 28% of freelancers in New York always use a contract. So what we do is provide a contract creator within our portal, which you can use for free. We always encourage freelancers to have a contract on hand. If your prospective client doesn't have a contract for you to sign, you should build your own, always have it, and offer it to them to sign. They have to, by law, agree to sign that contract. And I know that at times that can be a very scary situation in which you feel that maybe being a little too pushy or pushing them to sign a contract will in turn result to you not getting the work. But there are anti-retaliation laws in place because of the Freelancers Free Act that ensure that they're not able to do that. And if they do, DCWP will jump in and take the corrective actions to ensure that relationship is mediated. I spoke earlier about the hub. Again, this is just more information on what we do. Currently, we are virtual, but we hope to have a very exciting announcement coming up very soon, where myself and the commissioner and the Castillo will work on closely to ensure that freelancers are up to date on when we'll be coming back online and in person. So if you're tired of working from home and you want to find a free co-working space, we hope to have that up and running pretty soon somewhere in the 5 boroughs. Over the last 6 months, we have hosted 46 events, and that speaks to the events I was speaking about earlier that can give you information on how to upskill, how to run your business, to learning new tools that you can use as well. We've had over 1,800 freelancers in New York attend those meetings. And then we also have mentoring. We have direct help with troubleshooting client issues. And we're also able to help give you access to job referrals as well. So we are a wraparound services organization. Again, I encourage you, go on our website, freelancersunion.org. You'll have all this information that we ourselves work internally to curate and ensure that you have all the up-to-date happenings around the freelance economy and the freelance universe. So again, we're free to join. We encourage you to come in, whether you're a dancer in the House of Yes or you're a consultant for a major restaurant group. We are here to provide you with the services you need to run a successful independent business. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rafael. And look at us, we're just about on time. We actually have a couple of questions to get to. One I lost and one I have found. One is regarding SNAP benefits. I signed up for SNAP benefits, but didn't have time to verify my documents. Is there a way I can reapply?
Hi, certainly. If they, somehow didn't complete the process, they can just go right back. The case would just be, closed or rejected based on not having those documents. So they can certainly reapply on Access HRA or, fax or going into a center, but they should have no technical problems with reapplying on Access HRA again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I did find the other question. I believe that DCWP sort of answered it a little bit in the chat, but wanted to give Rafael Espinal also an opportunity. It said, is it possible to get help for freelancers who are undocumented, interested in creating an LLC? It seems tedious based on research I've done that obtaining an ITIN takes 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I do believe you will need that ITN number in order to file for LLC. I mean, it's vital for you to be able to file your taxes and report your taxes. So most likely you will need that to create that entity. So I know the process is tedious. I mean, hopefully we can make a connection with someone at the agency that oversees that. But if you want to have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email us at advocacy@freelancersunion.org, and we can take a deeper dive look into that question.
Thank you, Raphael. And I know that DCWP also offered to provide information. I encourage everyone who's listening to send any questions or request for connection to an agency our way today and every day. I want to thank everyone who participated in this really important webinar. You know, these are extremely stressful and unpredictable times. I think many, if not all of us, never anticipated perhaps being in the situation that we are now, needing the support and services that the city and the state provide. And really the importance of this webinar is to make sure that everyone knows that you are not alone, that you don't have to struggle or suffer without direction and support. There are so many incredible, not just agencies, but people working in these agencies that are here to help you. And the Office of Nightlife is going to always be that liaison and conduit to help you get to the answers and services you need. I hope that it was helpful for everyone, and I appreciate the Department of Labor, Consumer Worker Protection, Office to Protect Tenants, Human Resource Administration, Actors Fund, Freelancers Union, the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, and all of you. Stay strong, stay resilient, stay creative, and know that we're behind you all the way, and every day we're getting through this. So enjoy the rest of your day and your week. Stay safe. Thank you and bless you.